Alright, so good afternoon everyone. Today we will continue to learn regarding on the metacognition, the three variables under metacognition. But before that, we will first review on what we tackled last time or for the last video, alright? So as we all know that metacognition is about your ability to use your knowledge of your thinking process. And of course, we have three phases of metacognition. The first one is planning with objective. The second one is the monitoring. And then the third is assessing or evaluating. And the foundation of the three phases of metacognition is the reflection. So let's review. Number one, as you can see on the screen, it is the solution or of the three phases. So as you can see that the step one is to plan a strategy. So that is the planning phase. Then the second step is to create the steps to solve the problem. That is part of the monitoring. Okay. Next is reflect on action taking. It is still part of monitoring. Then fourth is the evaluate result. And of course, that is part of the evaluation or the assessment. And fifth is modify your approach. You have to reflect kung may pagbabago ba or kailangan baguhin sa approach na gagamitin mo on your next step. Or uulitin mo pa ba yung step na yan? Okay. So, elements of cognition, we have two, right? From the other is, from the previous, of course. We have two. We have first is knowledge and regulation. So, knowledge, it is understanding what you know about yourself as cognitive processor. And the regulation is managing or controlling how you go about learning or problem solving. So, we discussed that one from the previous video. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, so metacognitive knowledge refers to what you know about yourself as cognitive processor. Knowledge includes what you know about how you perceive, process, organize, and understand information. It also includes knowing how you learn best or the best way you can accomplish a task or solve a problem. Your knowledge of these factors can be used to manage and control your cognitive processes. So, as we all know, dun tayo nag-stop, regarding on the metacognitive knowledge can be divided into three variables. So, we have first one is the knowledge variables. The second one is the task variables. And then the third one is the strategy variables. So, when we talk about metacognitive knowledge, ito yun siya. Ang pinakauna is the person variables. So, under the person variables, it is what you recognize about your strength and weaknesses in learning and processing information. So, under person variables, it means that you know your capacity, you know your strength, and you know your weaknesses. That is why you have to learn and you have to process the whole information na pumapasok sa'yo. Na tipong, may ibang learner na medyo nahihirapan ako dito sa math. Pero, at some point, may natututunan ako. Hindi nga lang ganun kabilis sa natutunan ko sa English. So, by that certain learning knows the strength and the weaknesses. But always remember, guys, as I told you, every time that we have demonstration teaching, we have every activities that your strength will be your weakness and your weakness will be your strength because of the following words. First thing is confidence, overconfidence. So sometimes, some learners, we are part of. Learner din po tayo, diba? Kahit pa si ma'am teacher na yun siya, learner pa rin po ako. Even you guys, even you as a future educator, you're still learner, okay? You're still a learning, you learn a lot. All throughout the process, okay? All throughout your life, you learn. So sometimes, pag sinabi nating strength na natin, hindi na natin medyo hinahasa. Kasi nga, ang instinct ng tao, magaling na kasi ako niyan. Alam ko na yan. So, hindi na inaaral. Okay? Pagdating ng time na kailangan niyang magsalita For example, kailangan niyang mag-impromptu speech kasi doon siya magaling. Hindi niya ngayon inaral, hindi niya ulit parang hinasa yung galing niya doon. Wala lang, nag-impromptu lang siya kasi confidence, overconfidence siya na tipong magaling siya. Pagdating sa stage, nawala na siya sa focus. Nawala na siya sa anong sasabihin niya. It's because of the overconfidence. Hindi niya na niluluk back yung tipong, ay hindi ko na pag-aaralan yan, basic na lang yan kasi magaling na ako. Alam ko na yan dyan, ako magaling eh. So sa sobrang confidence, overconfidence, naging weakness niya tuloy yung impromptu speech. Alright, so when we talk about our weakness naman, na tipong may mga ibang tao o learner na nagda-drive sa kanilang motivation yung mga weaknesses nila. Especially na tipong gusto nila, they will strive harder in order to learn. Hindi naman yung tipong ang goal nila is maging magaling, but to learn in that certain area kasi meron silang goal or objective sa sarili nila. Na tipong by the end of this semester, kailangan may alam ako sa algebra. For example, mahina ako sa algebra. So by the end of the semester, kasi may algebra naman ako na subject, why not na tipong dapat may matutunan ako. And by the time of the process, na tipong natutunan natin, naging strength niya, katagalan. Ay, magaling pala ako sa algebra. So, katagalan naging strength. So, it is part of the person variables. It is to recognize about the strength of every learner and the weaknesses, especially in the learning and processing the information. As we all know that every learner is a unique individual. Okay, unique po na mga individual. Walang salitang bobo, slow learner lang po. And we do not use as a future educators, we do not use word BOBO sa isang slow learner na bata or slow learner na estudyante. Alright? So next, we are talking here the task variables. So what you know about the nature of a task and the processing demands required to complete the task. So under these task variables, you already know na tipong, alam ko na to nung process nito. So meron akong i-apply na mga formula or mga solution na mapadali ang pag-complete ng task. So meron na siyang a little background. Okay, nature of the task, a little background of the certain task or job na pinapagawa sa kanya ng teacher. Okay po ba tayo dun? Alright, next is the strategy variables. What you know about different strategies you can apply to successfully accomplish a task. This one, pasok na po dito si HOTS or si HOTS, the higher order thinking skills. Because strategy, as we all know, that it is not universal but personal. Okay, under this one, a certain learner, like, let's go back. Diba sabi ko kanina, every learner is a unique, or every individual is unique, okay? So that is why pasok si strategy variables. Kasi hindi naman porke po na magaling na ay wala ng strategy. Sometimes, yung mga hindi masyadong kagalingan academically, they are po magaling regarding on the strategy. What strategy o mga pwede bang sa isang solution, sa isang task, 4 ang strategy na gagawin ko in order na ma-accomplish talaga yung task na binigay sa akin. May mga ganong learner. Or at the same time, matalino na siya academically, magaling pa siya on the strategy, on the performance. So, ibig pong sabihin yan na tipong kaya niyang mag-apply na maraming strategiya sa isang task or sa isang job or sa isang project or assignment. Alright, that is the 3 metacognitive knowledge. The person variables, the task variables, the strategy variables. Okay. So under the strategy variables, we have 2. Okay, we have 2 parts, the meta-attention and the meta-memory. Now, let's talk about the meta-attention. It is awareness of specific strategies so that you can keep your attention focused on the topic or task at hand. Okay, for example, may bata kang tinututor. For example, grade 1. ano yung mga certain na mga strategy na gagamitin mo in order na yung attention niya ay makukuha mo. So of course, you have to apply not only one strategy, but many strategies. So kaya siya pasok sa strategy variables because your task is to keep that child or keep that learner under nakafocus pa rin siya on what you have to do or lesson na tuturo mo sa kanya. Na tipong hindi rin boring or hindi rin bore yung na part sa part ng bata, at the same time, may matutunan siya. Okay, ano kaya mga strategy na yun? Number 1, you have to use colorful flashcards. Second, we are already in the 21st century. So of course, mas hook ang mga bata sa gadgets, no? So, gagamit ka rin ng gadgets, gagamit kayo ng multimedia, but always be careful on choosing your aids or your visual aids, especially sa mga bata na tipong critical yung level nila. What do we mean by critical ang level? Critical yung understanding because it creates confusion. Kaya may subject tayo na kailangan maingat tayong pumili ng mga visual aids, pictures, video. Let us see first the content. Let us see first the message of every videos na ipapakita natin sa mga learner natin. Alright? Especially nowadays, maraming kalokohan. Not only on the TikTok, YouTube as well, and other site na may videos, alright? So, let's be careful on that. So, meta-attention, nandito din po, nabibilong din po dito si distraction. Alright? So, what if ma-distract naman po yung learner? Okay. Ipapasok mo ang another strategy mo. Kaya nga, belong siya sa strategy variables, diba, si meta-attention. You have to have a plan, a different strategy na mag-hook up pa rin siya doon sa lesson na sa araw na yon. Okay? So, you have to keep their attention. You have to have specific strategies, plenty of specific strategies in order to keep or to have that focus sa mga bata para matapos ang task. And that is number 1 po pa naman, especially when we are doing demo teaching. Yan ang number 1. You have tipong ang mga panel, tinitingnan ka kung lively pa ba yung klase mo, or nasa mga bata pa ba yung attention ng topic, or yung mga bata ba nasa topic pa ba ang attention, o baka sa ibang bagay na nadidistract na. Nawawala na si strategy si teacher kasi nga nadistract na rin siya sa mga bata. Alright? Not only the learner ang kailangan mag-attention, mag-focus on the topic or the task, also you as a teacher, you have to keep your specific strategy. You have to keep your attention, na focus ka sa strategy mo. What is your aim at the end of the day? Kaya nga, diba, hindi lang sa lesson plan ng objective. Every day in our lives, kailangan may objectives. Focus. That is belong to meta-attention. Now, let's move on to second variables and strategy. We have the meta-memory, no? It is your awareness of memory strategy that work best for you. So, as a teacher, let's give in natin siya sa teacher na part, ha? Sa teacher, alam mo kung saan ang kiliti ng mga bata. Okay, let's talk about mga bata. As a nanay, as ang dakilang tita, alam na alam mo kung paano bilugin ang mga ulo ng mga bata. Kumbaga sa word natin in Tagalog, alam natin paano sila utuin. And by that, you have to innovate. You have to innovate another strategy. Kasi part pa rin siya ng strategy variables. You have to innovate another na strategy na yung dati mong strategy ay maganda, tatipong in-insert mo, makes it unique. Na hindi nila naman mapansin na ginamit mo na yan sa akin eh. Alright? So, you have to combine. You have to ask yourself, ano nga yung ginamit ko sa mga anak ko nakaraan na napasunod ko sila, ha? So, you have to be aware of the memory strategies that works or work best for you in regards to mag-focus siya sa atensyon ng lesson. Alright? Now, sa learner naman, kunyari, ikaw ang learner. Okay? So, mag-solve ka ng math. Ngayon, napasok sa memory mo na. Nadaanan ko to. Alam ko meron akong solution dito. Alright? So, ngayon, ginamit mo yung solution, pasok sa meta-memory, ngayon, nakuha mo yung answer. Upon checking, tama naman yung answer mo. It is the work of the meta-memory because of the strategy that you use. Kasi yun yung, ang mind natin, yun yung na-aware, parang nahalungkat na cabinet yung mga mind natin na, parang familiar siya. Saglit lang, dito yan na section, hahalungkat yung brain mo sa dito na section. Oo nga, yan na yun. Oo nga, eto na yun yung solution niya. Eto yung best na strategy na gagamitin natin kasi nagamit ko na to. Hinalungkat ngayon sa brain. It is part of the meta-memory and it is the last strategy variables of the metacognition. Alright, so under this one, metacognitive strategies to facilitate learning. So, researchers such as that of Fang and Cox showed that metacognitive awareness was evident in preschoolers and in students as young as 8 years old. Okay, so eto yung mga strategies ha. Okay, ito yun according to Fang and Cox. And this is under 8 years old. So, the challenge then to the future teacher like you guys, especially that you are in 3rd year now, is to integrate more activities that you would build in your students' capacity to reflect on their own characteristics as learners. So this is the self-knowledge. The task they are to do, which is the task knowledge, and the strategy that they can use to learn, which is the strategic knowledge. Okay, this according to the research of Fangs and Cox, this is for the teachers na magagraduate ng elementary education, the BEd. No, kasi 8 years old na. So, hindi yan siya pasok. Pero pwede pa rin to siya gamitin sa mga secondary. Alright, secondary. So, examples of teaching strategies to develop metacognition. This is still under 8 years old, ha? So, the first one is have student monitor their own learning and thinking. So, of course, when we talk about that one, a student monitors peers learning, parang i-partner mo ba sila? Behaving in dyad. When we talk about dyad, mura siya, partner siya. They are partner. So, kunyari, si Pedro at si Maria ay magka-partner. So, Pedro, Maria, you have to monitor your own progress. You have to monitor your own behavior and then we will share later on, ha? Then you have the sharing. Na tipong, oh, kamusta naman si Maria, Pedro? Ay, Maria, mom is very good in math. Pero hindi siya magaling sa English. Behavior naman niya, ma'am, medyo maingay pero matalino. So, by that, Pedro is reporting regarding on the progression or the development of Maria. And then Maria will do as well, vice versa. That is dyad. Alright? So, they are reporting own performances on what they have observed. Alright? So, next, teach students study or learning strategy. Or, what we have here is TQLR. This can be taught to younger students, the primary grades. Ito dapat yung dapat i-focus ng mga BEd, ha? So, what does TQLR means? So, it is a metacognitive strategy before listening to a story or presentation. So, as we all know, especially in kinder, hanggang grade 3, hanggang grade 4, may mga lesson, may mga story. And grade 4 to 6, meron na mga presentation. Okay, mga drama, role-playing, you have to dramatize a certain poem or a certain stories. So, pasok si TQLR na strategy dito. T is for tune in, Q is for question, L is to listen, and R is for remember. Of course, tune in, paparinig mo muna sa kanila. It's either the teacher would read the story or may papanood siyang video regarding on the story, and then you have to ask certain questions. Who is the character? Who are the character in the story? So what happened? What values did we get from the story? So of course, they will able to listen because of the certain question. Iisipin kasi ng mga bata, I have to listen to this. Sabihan pa nila yung companion nila or ka-seatmate nila, you have to keep quiet because I want to listen to this story. Because our teacher might ask us. Tatanungin na tayo na sino ang ano, tas pag hindi ako makinig, lagot ako kay mama, especially sa mga ganung edad, no? And of course, pag may mga pictures, yung meta-attention nila is nandun lang sa story. Because of the certain guide na question, they listen. And if they listen, pag meron silang objective, yun yung last question na masasagot dapat nila, they will remember. That is the TQLR. T is for tune in, Q is for question, L is for listen, R is for remember. Alright. So, we have the PQ4R. This is usually for the older students in the intermediate levels or onwards. So, ito na yung dapat mag-focus dito yung mga BS Ed or mga secondary education. So, what does PQ4R means? So, we have the strategy used to study a unit or a chapter. Okay, ito yung sa libro. We have to study para sa exam, para sa graded recitation, para sa summarizing or whatsoever. So we have P for preview. Of course, you have to preview. You have to teach the lesson. You have to review the lesson. And that certain student will preview or scan the notes, the book, or whatsoever na ginagamit. Then you have to ready your question. Because, sabi ko nga kanina sa TQLR question, yan yung magiging objective nila. So, they have, in order for them to read. Kasi may tanong, nakapasok yan sa utak nila. Kailangan ako magbasa, baka tanungin ako ni ma'am, hindi ako makasagot. So, of course, they already preview. They are ready to question. That is why they read. Okay? Nagbabasa sila. And when they read, na tipong yun yung magiging guide question nila, yun yung ang questions na yun yung magiging objectives nila, na at the end of my reading, dapat meron akong natutunan. So that, the next R is for recite. So that I may be able to join the class. So that I may be able to answer the question. So that when I recite, I have a grade. A good grades. And then next R is for the review. Of course, when they read, they recite, they nag-preview, may question, nagre-reflect na yon, may review na nangyayari. Di lang napapansin ng mga bata, but they already review. And they remember. Nabasa nila, nasagutan pa nila, nag-recite pa sila. Now they remember. And then last R is to reflect. Let us all remember, guys, na at the end of our lesson as a teacher, we have to do the reflection on what is the certain realization for that certain topic na tinuro sa atin. Or as a teacher, ano yung at the end of the day, ano yung lesson or valuing ng lesson na naiambag mo sa mga bata or sa mga learners. You have to reflect, not only the children but also a teacher should reflect at the end of the day, anong values ang nakuha namin dito, anong values ang naturo ko sa mga bata. Realization, when say realization, realize, it means true to life, not fantasy. Hindi mo naman pwede maparealize sa mga bata yung pantasya. Kasi hindi naman true to life, hindi man experience. Alright? So, pasok sa reflection. So, pasok pa rin siya ang fundamental talaga in all actions that we do in life. We have to reflect. Alright. So, third. Strategy pa rin tayo ha. Huwag mawala. Third, have students make prediction about information to be presented next based on what they have read. Okay, dito. Perfect example dito is yung mga bata. Ano kayang nangyari kay Koneho nung nilampasan na siya ni Pagong? So, dun pa lang sa binasa na libro, may tanong ka na kagad. Of course, na-excite sila. Ma'am, feeling ko, ma'am, matatalo talaga si Koneho. May isa namang classmate, yung isa namang mga estudyante, ma'am, feeling ko, ma'am, magising yan si Koneho, ma'am, malampasan pa niya yan si Pagong. So, they make prediction regarding on the information na next na natin ipipresent. Siyempre, gagawin ka, okay, now, let's move on. Tingnan natin kung naunahan ba talaga ni Pagong si Koneho. And they feel excited about it. Kasi, yung tipong, they argue with him, not argue in a pangit na manner ha. They argue na tipong, feeling ko talaga kasi 'di ba mabilis yan si Koneho. Kahit matulog pa yan ng ilang beses si Koneho, kahit natulog pa yan siya, si Pagong talaga mabagal. So they are excited on what happened next. Alright? So of course, ang meta-attention ng bata is nandoon. Pasok pa rin kasi nga, they are excited. Okay, they predict. Even if they are wrong sa prediction, they try, they still enjoy. Kahit naman siguro sa mga nanay natin, na tipong mga nanay na tayo sa mga anak natin, may mga ganong mga instances yung mga anak natin. Or yung tipong tayo ay dakilang tita, may mga ganong instances sa mga natin, pamangkin. Alright? Next, fourth, is have students relate ideas to existing knowledge structures. So it is important to have relevant knowledge structures well learned. So of course, kailangan, sabi ko nga at the end of the day, kailangan makarelate sa ideas na nag-exist na rin. You have to ask questions pa rin regarding na tipong, okay, so sino ang bida sa storyang ito? They already knew, but you still ask. Bakit? Para matuldukan, mabigyan ng diin yung nalalaman nila. Alright? So next, have students develop questions, ask questions of themselves about what's going on around them. So you ask a good question today, o tipong sa tingin mo yung tanong ninyo kanina ay maganda or pasok sa kwento natin kanina or sa lesson natin kanina. So ask them. Okay? And then, of course, you have to rise or tipong tanungin, do you have any questions, clarifications regarding on the story, regarding on our topic, regarding on our lesson for today? So, do not leave them. Do not leave the student or the learners na tipong may question mark pa nakabitin sa utak nila. Kasi sometimes, curiosity can kill the ideas. Especially pag hindi kayo nagtanong na gano'n. Do you have any questions? May tanong sana ako kay ma'am, kaso nag-goodbye na siya bigla. May idea sana ako ipapasok pa rin doon at saka sa values na sinasabi niyang kwento, kaso nag-goodbye na siya bigla. Hindi po tayo pwede na tipong, okay, that would be the story. Goodbye class. Goodbye ma'am. Ay, yung mga estudyante na kailangan magtanong o may mga tanong pa. Kasi they might they might sound interesting sa ganong part o sa ganong story kasi sometimes yung mga story na binabanggit natin or sometimes yung lesson na binabanggit is favorite nila. So sometimes kung wala silang question, may idea silang idadagdag. And please do not leave your students that way. Masakit mabitin. Masakit iwanan na hindi mo alam anong sagot. Kahit na siguro sa mga jowa ninyo, 'di ba? Masakit iwanan na hindi mo pa alam bakit. Ganon din po yan sa mga estudyante. It applies to all. Pag ngisi-ngisi lang kayo dyan, si ma'am talaga palagi naghugot-hugot. But it applies to all. We have to look that specific perception into a general idea, into a broad idea. Kasi hindi lang naman yan sa syota-syota mag-apply eh. It applies to all. Hindi mo lang nakikita. Kasi masyado kang nasaktan. Alright? So, let's move on. So, 6. Help students to know when asked for help, or he or she must be able to self-monitor, require student to show how they have attempt to deal with the problem of their own. Okay, sabi ko at the end of the day, may realization sa lahat ng lesson, and of course, as a teacher, you are the second parent of the students. Okay, kailangan din nila mag-self-monitor. Hindi lang po tayo ang mag-monitor. Sila din dapat. If they are improving, if they want help, if they wanted help or seeking help sa atin, so of course, you have to be aware as a teacher. Okay? So next, show students how to transfer knowledge, attitudes, values, skills to other situation or task. So sabi ko nga, paulit-ulit, at the end of the day, you have to emphasize what is the value of that lesson. Kailangan nag-isip ka ng strategy. Paano ma-insert yung valuing sa lesson na ito? Noun lang naman to at pronoun. So mag-isip ka. You have to ask, or tipong, not to ask. You have to think. Yun pala. To think is strategy na tipong papasok pa rin doon si valuing. Kasi it's very, very important at the end of the day. It may sound na tipong true noun or true pronoun or through a simple lesson inside the classroom, it may help change the way they look or the way they have na perception nila in life. Malay mo, ma-apply din niya sa labas. Malay mo, at the end of the lesson, kahit pa noun or pronoun pa yan siya or whatsoever, singular or plural, ma-apply pala niya sa bahay niya. So, you have to show students how to transfer knowledge, attitudes, values, skills to other situation or task. Alright? So now, let's move on kay novice and expert learners. So as you can see po, okay, in the last 20 years, cognitive psychologists have studied the distinction among learners in the manner they absorb or process information. So they are able to differentiate expert learners from novice learners. Ano ba tong expert learners at novice? Ang sabi ko nga kanina na ang every individual is unique type. Okay? So we have this what we call sa inside sa classroom, meron talagang magagaling. At merong slow learner. Yun yung tinatawag na novice learners. So a very important factor that separates these two types of learners mentioned as metacognition. So expert learners employ metacognitive strategies in learning. They are more aware of their learning process as they read, study, and do problem solving. So expert learners monitor their learning and consequently adjust their strategies to make learning more effective. So yun ang mga katangian or traits ng expert learners. So the tables below shows the difference between a novice learners and an expert learners. Know the difference. Tingnan natin ha. So we have here the aspect of learning. The first one is knowledge in different subject areas, while the novice learner have limited knowledge in the different subject areas. On the expert learners have deeper knowledge in different subject areas because they look for interrelationship in the things they learn. So how about the problem solving? As you can see, sa novice, satisfied at just scratching the surface, hurriedly gives a solution to the problem. Sometimes, di ba, na tipong, basta mapasa na to. Sige, eto na yung solution ko, bahala na. Hindi na nila iniisip kung na-achieve ba nila, no? Na-achieve ba nila yung answer, or na tipong, sometimes nga, mga novice learners, na tipong, anong answer? Bigyan mo na lang ako ng sagot para makapasa ako. Pasok sila kay novice learner. Okay, next, expert learners. While the expert learners, sila yung first try to understand the problem. Niisip mo na nila yan, parang nag-ano pa yan sila, ang tawag dyan, parang sinasite pa nila yan. Naintindihan ko na. Kasi ito daw si 2, siya yung variable ni y. Ayun. So, they try to look for the boundaries. And of course, they create mental picture of the problem. So, they try to understand first the problem. While si novice naman, dire-diretso kung ano na lang masagot nila, yun na yun. Si expert, they have to try to understand, they have to put empathy, they have to understand, they have to love the problem para maintindihan nila. Alright, so next, third is the learning and thinking strategy. Novice learners employ rigid strategy that may not be appropriate to the task at hand. So, bara-bara lang. Na tipong matapos lang itong task na ito, mali man o tama ang ginawa ko, okay na to, ipapasa ko na to. Okay na to, basta may sagot ako sa papel. That is the novice learners. While the expert learners is to design new strategy that would be appropriate to the task at hand. So as you can still remember, under the strategy na variables, they have marami dapat mga reserba, diba, ng mga strategy. And of course, expert learners, sila yung tipong iniisip muna bago mag-apply ng strategy para maganda yung gawa nila. Okay, next, selectivity in processing. So, novice learners attempt to process all information they receive. So, lahat na lang. Sige, okay. Sa tingin ko, ito yan. Ganito yan. So, ganun si novice learners. While, si expert learners, they have to select important information to process. So, i-breakdown nila yung information, no, na tipong from summarizing the lesson or the topic, they have just salain na lang nila yung kanilang important na message sa topic, yung tipong sasalain na lang nila ano yung word na yun, and then that's the answer. So si novice, lahat na, kung ang summarize niya is parang whole pa rin na discussion. Parang ganon. Alright, next is the production of output. Novice learners do not examine the quality of their work nor stop to make revision. For example, sa research. Okay, if you are a novice learner sa research, binigyan kayong task. Pwede na to sa conceptual framework. Pwede na yan, hindi na yan di baling mali ang grammar, di baling mali ang intention, mali naman ang conceptual framework. While the expert learners, sa certain task pa rin na yun, research, they have to check their errors and redirect their effort to maintain quality output, because quality output is very, very important to every expert learners. They have to check grammar, the intention, ang papel, saan yung tuldok, saan yung kama, tama ba ang conceptual framework na ginawa nila para lang ma-maintain ang quality ng output. Alright? So that would be all. So let's try to reflect. Okay? For 5 seconds, let's try to reflect. Are you a novice learner na nandito na kayo ngayon sa college? Or are you an expert learner? Let's try to reflect. Alright. After you reflect, you have answer mo na lang yan sa sarili mo if you are a novice learner or an expert learner. So, I hope you learned something from this discussion. I hope you stay well and stay safe. Everyone, have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.